Good morning. Welcome to the service today. Would you please stand and we will recite the three refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. Now we'll turn to the Heart Sutra, the Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Today I'm going to pick up where Arya Vinaya Su left off 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, with the importance of becoming one through the act of meditation. Now, there is a meditation that is always done during the full moon. It's called the full moon meditation, or the Lojong meditation. And I'm only going to, it takes about an hour to get through it. That's why an entire service, or on the full moon, they hold a service just to do the Lojong meditation. What I'm going to do is the introspection part of it. And I will make a statement. I want you all to, first of all, take those 3 deep cleansing breaths that we take before we settle into meditation. And then you just settle into your natural, easy breathing, whatever is comfortable for you. And what I'm going to do is read a section. You are to assume your eyes either closed or just barely open. I will make a statement, and you are to reflect on that statement, and then I will pause for a few moments for your silent reflection, and then I will go on to the next statement. My current suffering is due to negative actions, attitudes, thoughts, and emotions I performed in the past, and whatever I think, say, or do now will determine what I experience and become in the future. And pursue my spiritual practices with enthusiasm and positive intentions. Please reflect on this. May I have the power to go beyond selfish absorption and engage with others. When I become enmeshed in selfishness, I will offer my own happiness to living beings so as to counteract it. In the same way, should a companion be ungrateful to me, I will be content in knowing that this is in retribution for my own inconstancy. Reflect on this. Like a bubble, a lifetime has no inner core. Like a mist, it dissipates upon close examination. Like a mirage, it is beautiful from afar. Like a reflection in a mirror, it seems as if it were really true. Like clouds and fog, it seems as if it were really stable. Reflect on this. My mind has no origin. It has never come into existence in the first place. It is not located anywhere, inside or outside my body. It is not some object that goes somewhere or ceases to exist. I will examine and investigate my mind so I can come to a precise and certain understanding of the nature of awareness, which has no origin, location, or cessation. Reflect on this. Even though I can see that life is a dream, a mist, a fog, and that my mind has no origin or location, and while this knowledge makes me feel quiet, tranquil, and serene, I will see that even this is a dream. It is just another mirage created by my mind. I will rest naturally in a state of bare awareness without thinking or forcing my mind one way or the other. Reflect on this. I will look closely at my own activities and will discover that they do not deserve the trust I put in them. I am not the agent in power, but the victim of my own projections. I will turn my mind inward, look closely, and reflect on this. I will investigate the real causes of imperfection. Reflect on this. The world is imperfect and will remain that way. I cannot change this, but will see it as an opportunity to awaken. I cannot control events, but I can change my attitude toward them. I will develop the wisdom not to assume that my initial responses are always true and correct. Reflect on this. When something undesirable happens, rather than blaming somebody or something else, I will look at how I might have contributed to it. I will train to ask, maybe this isn't how things really are. It might be my own ego projecting something onto the circumstances. I must learn to stop personalizing things. I will look at the poison and not the person. Reflect on this. When confronted by negative circumstances, I will try to think good thoughts and try to turn the negative to my own spiritual advantage. I will reflect on the kindness of others. Reflect on this. Many of my past motivations have been tainted by ego, anger, aggression, jealousy, and resentment. I have gossiped and taken pleasure at another's misfortune and failed to act in an awakened and compassionate manner. The regret and shame that I feel cannot be overcome until I have atoned with the deepest remorse and without concealing anything. Reflect on this. May what I am about to do yield beneficial results. May it give me the power to be of real benefit to others. May it help me overcome my defilements and delusions. May it clear away the obstacles on the path. May it propel me to the future state of enlightenment. Reflect on this. There is nothing that does not grow light through habit and familiarity. Putting up with little cares, I will train myself to bear them. I will look at how I respond to situations, the words I use, my tone of voice, the look on my face, how I carry myself, all of the little things I do from moment to moment that reflect my emotions and mental state. I will pay attention to my thoughts, words, and deeds. Whatever I am doing, I will maintain awareness and mindfulness. Reflect on this. I will plant white seeds through my awareness and mindfulness. I will continually remind myself that my thoughts, words, and deeds are the three gates through which I move for the benefit of others. I shall purify my bodily and my verbal forms of activity. My mental activities, too, I shall purify and do nothing that is non-virtuous. Reflect on this. I will undertake to vigorously engage in self-reflection, to penetrate the layers of self-deception I have created around myself, so that I may be free from negative mental states and emotions. I will seek to break down and understand my experiences for what they are and gain insight into my emotions and mental states. Reflect on this. May whatever I have done, no matter how small, have a ripple effect and influence the lives of other beings in a positive way, so that they too can develop bodhicitta and become freed from resentment, bitterness, hostility, and hatred. May they find comfort and ease through the practice of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Okay, bring your attention back to me. Give me your thoughts about, this is simply the introspection part of the Lojong meditation. Like I said, the whole thing takes an hour, maybe a little longer. There's a long form and a short form. But in terms of this introspection aspect of Lojong meditation, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was great, bringing all the different aspects to mind and then having a moment to think about how it applies to your life. And I wish there could be a little recording of that happening in my everyday. It was good. One of the actual thoughts that I had was that, and I've mentioned this to you before, that sometimes I will forget, like I'll hear the words that will mean a lot to me and I'll go, yes, that's what I want to remember, and then I will forget it. And so this, yeah.
Okay. Other thoughts?
I think it brings you down to earth and thinking yourself about all of these, especially starting with the are you thinking of others or myself, and how important it is to me, and probably all of you, to think of others, to make sure what I'm doing is helping them and not hurting them. And then, like she said, having time to sit and think what we need to do to make sure we get there. I think each one of those situations brings us to that.
Yes, the Lojong meditation is what we call the great equalizer. It is what brings all beings to one point. And we carry that one point in the lightness of our heart if we are following the guidelines of the meditation. If that doesn't happen, then what we are doing are repelling others away and creating more suffering in their lives and creating more ignorance, greed, and anger outside of ourselves. So if we hold these thoughts in the light of our hearts, our heart minds, and that heart-mind connection, this is what brings everything to that singular point. Now you have another piece of paper. It's part 5 of the Lojong meditation, and this is called vigorous introspection. And this is something I want you to take with you, because this is something you can incorporate into your daily meditations as a reminder of what we've just talked about. It begins, instead of deriving comfort from the suffering of others and drawing pleasure from all of the wrong places, I will generate mindfulness and awareness and take pleasure in living with the right view. I will respond to others with less spite, jealousy, and egoism, and will demonstrate more kindness, appreciation, and compassion. When I do, I am making progress with my training, with my personal enlightenment. And so these are very serious questions. Am I thinking more of others than myself? Am I less irritated and bothered by others and the things that happen around me? Am I more aware and mindful? Do I regularly engage in meditation, that single-pointed focus, you see? Do I find that the practice, all of our spiritual practice, is becoming more automatic, or is it becoming more integrated into my being? Is it becoming who I be? have I taken the time to examine and analyze my own mind? What happens all too often is we engage in what I jokingly call ready, fire, aim. Oops. A situation occurs and we just, boom. And then we say, oh, okay, that was not the correct thing that is parallel with my own personal practice. So I have to take time and analyze my own mind. Now, I spent a career analyzing other people's minds. That was easy. Analyzing one's own mind is far more difficult because the ego wants to arise and say, yes, but, or if only they, and all sorts of things like that. When we rid ourselves of those defilements, the mind is also laid bare, transparent, and clearly visible to us, so that we can respond in the appropriate ways that not only reduces our own suffering, but reduces the suffering of those around us. Have my activities been undertaken with the single intention to be of benefit to others? Yesterday, Nate and Kim went up to visit my parents. I received a message and a phone call this morning from my sister that said my father will probably not make it through the day. Now, I'm certain that Nate and Kim had far better things to do with their Saturday than go up to an assisted living center and see old people, even if they are family, and one who is in his last moments in this realm. But they took that time, and it benefited everybody else that was around. They saw the light of Nate and Kim shine through in their actions. Do I spend too much time pondering others and their weaknesses? In business especially, you see, everything is about strategy and how I can get the upper hand. Well, in order to get the upper hand, sometimes I ponder other people's weak spots, where I can get a wedge in. And that's ego, that's greed, that's narcissistic behavior. Do I malign others and hold grudges? If any of you choose to go through further training after you've received the precepts and then go on to take the bodhisattva vows or sannyasin training, and then comes dharma teacher training and then monk training, once you get to the bodhisattva classes, one of the vows you take is, I will say or think nothing of my fellows in anger or begrudgingly putting them down, degrading them. None of the members of the Sangha, not my teachers, not my students, that I will hold them in high esteem and do everything within my power to bring out the very best in them. Do I wait in ambush for others? Wow, do I wait in ambush for others? Am I looking for opportunities to degrade them, to attack them in some way, to belittle them, to look upon them as lessers, which is exactly the opposite of the path? Have I brought things to a painful point? Have I conducted myself in such a way that it has reached a crescendo of pain that exudes outward from me and impacts those around me to create more suffering? And then lastly, have I practiced the main points, others before self, awakening compassion within me? Now, you don't have it on your papers, but this ends with something called a song of compassion. I'm going to you don't have that, do you? Oh, you have it here? Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay. Then why don't we say that together, okay? My heart goes out to all those who are suffering, my very own mothers who have cared for me so kindly throughout the whole of time, from its very beginnings until now. These kind mothers of mine helped to cool me when I was hot, but now some have taken birth in the 8 hot hells to be tormented by the searing heat. My heart goes out to them. These mothers of mine gave me warmth when I was cold, but now some have taken birth in the 8 cold hells to be tormented by the freezing cold. My heart goes out to them. These mothers of mine gave me food and drink in my hunger and thirst, but now some have taken birth in the Preta realm to be tormented by famine and drought. My heart goes out to them. These kind mothers of mine have always cared for me with love, but now some have taken birth among the animals to be tormented by servitude and exploitation. My heart goes out to them. These kind mothers of mine lovingly gave me whatever I desired, but now some have taken birth among human beings to be tormented by the pains of aging and death. My heart goes out to them. These kind mothers of mine shielded me from every harm, but now some have taken birth among Asuras to be tormented by conflicts and strife. My heart goes out to them. These kind mothers of mine nurtured me and brought me only benefit, but now some have taken birth among the gods to be tormented by death and transmigration. My heart goes out to them. By ourselves we have no chance to escape samsara's pains. Samsara is it's the Buddhist word for the hell realms. And for now we lack the power to provide our own protection. O my mothers, understanding all this suffering, my heart goes out to you. When I consider these sufferings which we all endure, I think to myself, if only I could gain enlightenment. Let it not be tomorrow, but let it come to me today. Swiftly, ever so swiftly, may I gain awakening, and having done so, dispel all beings' pain, leading them all to perfect bliss. I pray. And that is the end of the short version of Lojong. What did you think of that song of compassion? You only have part of it there. If you would like, if you would prefer it, I can copy the whole short Lojong for you. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7 pages.
Would that include the reflections that you did?
Yes.
I would love that.
That would have everything, including everything that I shared with you today. Would that be meaningful, do you think? Then I will have that for you next week. Okay? The Song of Compassion, it talks about mothers. And we had, Karen and I had dinner with my son Ari this past week. And he told me something I had never ever considered before, but it makes so much sense. And it's about mothers. If you go backwards in time, you only have 20 to 25 mothers that takes you to 0.0. The first mother. Think about that. Only 20 to 25 mothers that take you all the way back to the point of origin. That's mind-blowing. I mean, when I think about it, if I go back 3 generations, just 3 mothers, we're already in the 1800s. So when we talk about mothers, we talk about the point of origin. Okay? And if we look at rebirth from the Buddhist perspective, at one time or another in your realms of being, each one of you in this room has been one of my mothers. And so when I sing this song of compassion, recite this song of compassion, my heart goes out to all of my mothers for every way they are suffering, especially after everything they did to nurture me to this point in my spiritual path. I am certainly not the awakened one. I am on the path to enlightenment, to awakening. Does that make sense? It's important for all of us to consider this on the Buddhist path. That's what Lojong, the introspective meditation, is meant. And as Arya Vinaya ended with, he was going to go on to meditation, but we ran out of time. It's that single pointed focus that goes where? From here out to everything that has existed, exists, and will exist in the future. May you be well. And now let's stand and we will do our closing Gathas. For all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passions, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And we bow.